What's happening, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy Mark. I'm here. I just finished a run. I haven't run for the first time. I haven't run in, I don't know, I want to say more than a month. So the first little bit that I didn't run was just because I didn't feel motivated. But then I got sick and I was out of commission and then I was traveling a little bit. So all kinds of factors went in. Nobody cares about the excuses, but those are the reasons why I hadn't run. And I had the most disciplined running regime of my entire life when it comes to long distance running from about August or so and through October because I had a race coming up and I wanted to make that race the best of my life and I wanted it to be a birthday present to myself. So I was all up in there running and learning about the science behind it and everything. As I was finishing my run on the track today, it made me think back to this race that I did 2015 or 16. It was one of my first obstacle course races. It was not my very first, but I had done probably less than 5 obstacle course races at that point. Now I've done 30, 40, 50, I don't know, I've lost count. So I remember this particular one, there was this personal trainer I attended some of his classes in the gym, and he would sign up himself and his class to go to a certain specific race. So I went to the race with the group, and my goal was not anything with the group because a lot of the people who were in his group were more like, I'm just happy to be here people. And I was somebody who was like, I'm an athlete who was an athlete my whole life, transitioning into being able to find something else to feed that part of me. So if for those who don't know what obstacle course races are, a run is obviously you're just running from a start line to a finish line. An obstacle course race is you run and then they have obstacles that you stop and complete. For an example, you might run for a little bit, then cross some monkey bars, then you might run some more, and then you might do a kettlebell swing. You might run some more, and then you might do a sandbag carry where you have the sandbags on your shoulder and you run with the sandbags on your shoulder. So that's an obstacle course race, the gist of it. So me and that trainer, the trainer was obviously in trainer shape. I was in good shape for somebody who exercises in my spare time and my free time. Like I have a regular full 9 to 5 job and I would do a couple hours of exercise 3, 4 days a week. So I was not going to be in the type of shape that he was in, nor did I eat the same way that he did or do the amount of cardio that he did. What's up? Rodri and Texas Holler. So anyways, I'm doing okay. So anyways, I remember my goal was to keep up with him or beat him. That was my two things that were in my mind. I either want to stay with him the whole race or pass him. And I felt like I could in my mind, despite the fact that I had not really trained for that. My training was mostly lifting weights. I did a little bit of running on the side, not realizing that running is really the main component to doing well in these races, not necessarily the strength. Because the strength stations are like 3 to 5 minutes, but the running is the majority of the race. So it was a 10K race. And me and him were running and doing the race and the obstacles, and we were side by side for about 50% of the race. And I was hype because I said to myself, he's a trainer. He runs all the time. He was preparing for this race. He does a lot more working out than I do. This is his life. He lives for these things. And I'm somebody who I used to live for sports and stuff back in the day in high school and maybe a little bit of my early 20s. But at this point in time, I'm retired from that. I just go to the gym for fun and maintaining as much of my fitness as I can. So I'm like, yo, I'm keeping up with him. I'm halfway. I'm like, we're going to cross that finish line together. So what happened was at the 50% point of that race, when we got to the 5K, he looks over at me. He says, "Mark, thanks for pacing me, bro. You did such a wonderful job. See you at the finish line." I was like, "What is this guy talking about? See you at the finish line? Like, you're not gonna see me at the finish line." Like, he said it as if he was gonna go to the finish line without me, wait for me there, and cheer me on as I cross the finish line. I was like, what kind of humble brag is that? So he speeds up, and I speed up. So he's running, I speed up. He's kind of looking at me, smiling. He speeds up some more. I speed up some more. Because if we're talking 100-meter dash, 200, 400-meter dash, I can keep up with most people unless you're some kind of semi-professional or professional runner. But most people I would be able to keep up with, right? You're not going to lose me at the very least. You're not going to be that far ahead of me. So he speeds up some more. Then I'm slowing down because I can't maintain that speed that he sped up to. So now I'm like, oh, he's disappearing. He's getting out of my sight. So I was like, maybe if I walk for like 30 seconds and catch my breath. It's not morning for me, but hi, Elma. Where I am located, it is evening. So I was like, okay, I can walk for a little bit and then I'll catch my breath and then I'll run hard and I'll catch up to him. So I walked and then I started running as fast as I could. And then that running lasted about 10 to 15 seconds. And then I stopped again, tried again, stopped again, realized it's the pacing. So going into an endurance race with a sprinter's or short-term runner's mentality is like when you're in an endurance runner, just to simplify this, because I've really, really read into the science of it, right? As an endurance runner, you start the race in first or second gear on purpose because you're like, I'm going to be running for 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 50, an hour, 2 hours, whatever. You're going to be running for a long amount of time. So you're running with the goal of being able to maintain early on and then speed up at the end. If y'all have seen those Olympic runs, a lot of people will run middle of the pack and then they'll end up winning the race because they pace themselves just to be within a certain striking distance of the people who came out the gates fast, and then they speed up at the end and win at the end. The Kenyans are really good at that in those like Olympic long distance runs, right? So yeah, so when he said see you at the finish line, it was because of the way that he trained. I didn't realize that at the time because my sprinter's mentality was like, I can always beat somebody with a final speed burst at the end. But once the race gets into certain distances, you can only go as much as you've trained to go. You can't suddenly become an endurance runner on race day, which is what I genuinely, for some weird reason, thought I could do. He ended up beating me out by like 15 to 20 minutes. And I was so distraught. I'm like, how could this happen? Recently, only recently, did I start to look up running and look up strategies for running long distances and learn about those strategies and learn how to pace myself to where the early part of the race is the warm up and I build up momentum and speed with time, and I feel like I have a final push to get myself to the end. So when I got on the track today, despite the fact that I hadn't run in a month and some change, I got out there and I was like, this is going to suck. This is going to be painful. This is going to hurt. All of the above. It's going to be difficult. But I'm here for the long run. And that's a parallel that I draw in life. I'm here for the long run. Life is going to hurt sometimes. Life is going to be painful. But I'm not expecting that I'm going to start here and sprint across the finish line in 10 seconds. I'm like, I'm gonna keep running. Sometimes my feet are gonna hurt. Sometimes I'm gonna get injured. Sometimes I'm gonna doubt myself. Sometimes I'm gonna say, what am I even doing here? I don't think I'm strong enough to get to the finish line because the finish line seems so far in the future. Sometimes I'm gonna cross the finish line and feel happy for the moment, and then something is gonna bring me down. An endurance mentality is one where you get into the race knowing that my goal is not to really quickly beat people, but rather that I am going to stay in this race longer than everyone else. I'm going to outlast everyone else. And every time I get knocked down, I'm going to keep getting myself back up. That's a message. I hope somebody takes that with them on this Transformation Tuesday. If it's Tuesday where you are, I know it's not Tuesday everywhere, but it's Tuesday for me, so it's Transformation Tuesday. Much love to y'all, and I appreciate you for joining the channel. If you haven't subscribed yet, please hit a subscription, like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to get notified. Whoops. Hold on, I'm taking care of some business here. All right. Like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to get notified of when I drop some more great content. Thank y'all, and have a good evening. What's up, Marshall?